Alright guys, it's Mrs. Rutan, and I'm going to go over the two sample essays with you to kind of break up me just talking at you in class. I want to talk about some revision tips, kind of the what not to do's versus the definite to do's. So we're going to do sample A first. This is modeled after the different experiences I've seen with different essays over the years. And this is kind of what kids do. So you have three prompts, and the first thing you'll notice right off the get-go is there's three paragraphs. This is actually a shorter sample, but I think very much the issue right now is this looks very cliche because it just is a prompt and answer. There's no flow, there's no organization in terms of, like, is it thought out? Is it a planned essay? Is it trying to kind of create a narrative slash reflective thesis? So you're not arguing anything, but a thesis is basically what you want the reader to get from your piece. And when you do it like this way, already from the get-go, it reads clunky, and it doesn't have an interest, and the flow is going to feel very, very choppy because it's going to probably be looking at these three different things. So I'm going to read through. So the first issue here, so the good news is the person tried to answer the prompts out of order. So that is a good strategy, but the problem is the information that they reflect on. They're reflecting on cross country, which is their outside activity. And then they start to bring in hard work and teamwork. It teaches you how to push through difficult challenges and never quit. And then it talks about there's a lot of hard practices and they made a lot of friendships. And cross country will always stand out to them even after they graduate. These are valid, but they're very generic, and they don't say anything about the person. They don't say anything really specific. There's no visual, like, so as your panel is reading these pieces, you want them to be able to close their eyes and listen to the essay and visualize you. Try to come up with a picture of who you are. And right now, this tells me what every sport tells me, which is it teaches me how to be a strong hard worker. It teaches leadership. So those adjectives that are popping up, those like skills, are very cliche. And it's a problem in this first chunk because, yeah, they're answering the prompt, but it's not doing anything special. It does have a dash, so I appreciate the grammar, but ultimately it's not pushing anything personal, specific, or visual. So the next paragraph is better. The person is trying to connect college to their degree choice. So they are trying to make that connection, which I appreciate. So they say they have to go to school because they need to learn how to teach. And then this is actually a nugget. They talk to some teachers. So the sample student has done some researching. But the problem is it's still very general. It doesn't have any specific examples. So the easiest way to fix this would be to say, college is always important. I plan to study. I need to know to go to college to learn more about how to teach. I can remember talking to some of my teachers. So right here would be the place to really play up a specific story and narrative. A lot of students get very reflective in general, but I think the narrative nuggets are going to be those visualization moments. They're going to be good show versus tell moments, and they're really going to allow the panel to get to know you. So here's a revision. I can remember talking to some of my teachers about education. My math teacher, Miss Joyce, was probably pivotal in helping me understand that teachers don't just go into the room teaching. It takes time, experiences, failures, and success to make them good teachers. So what should you do? Add something specific. And if you don't know what to add, do a little research. Like, try to Google the school you want to go to, or just Google psychology programs and find out what happens. Find out what you need to do, because that shows a little bit more commitment. If you're undecided, we can talk about that too, because that's a different thing, but you got to be specific and you got to give narrative. The third paragraph is got a couple different issues going on. So I go back to prompt number 3. So this essay is too short, and because it's too short, it has redundant information. And this is a very valid. I do think that this example shines out a lot stronger than this example. But the problem is the person's got to commit to one of these two, and I think there needs to be continuity in all of the paragraphs. Right now, they're very choppy. So this person says that they went to Emily Andrews, and they talk about a nice old lady. I think that phrasing's very boring. I think there's a lot of different phrases in here that are just boring. Had fun. So play up with the thesaurus. Oh, I'm so tired. And then make sure that you think about how can you make this specific in a show versus tell moment. I do think that the lessons and the reflections in this are a lot stronger and they're a lot more interesting than up here. But the prompts are kind of all over the place now because this person talks about why it's important to them. They talk about what they want to study, and it's kind of like these two things are conflicting. So I think the organization of this might need to be changed, or the person might need to commit to one versus the other. So that's some things to think about. Peace.